Good morning, everyone. I am Margie, the Bootleg Knitter. Today is February 28th, and I'm hanging out. Yes, I am inside with a hat on. So, this past Thursday night, I was outside. I ran outside. I had a blanket that was airing outside. It's the blanket I used to cover one of my dogs because my one dog, he's half boxer, does not have a lot of fur, and he gets cold. And if I don't cover him up, he will wake me up in the middle of the night to go under the covers. So I had put the blanket that I used to cover him up with outside to air out because it was a nice day. So I'm like, it's like 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, I left the blanket outside. I ran outside. I grabbed the blanket. I turn. I know the step is there. And I slam my toes. The third toe, the fourth toe, my pinky toe. It was mostly those. It's mostly the three toes. So not the big man, not the pinky, but the three toes in the middle there. Okay, so not your thumb, not your big toe, not your pinky, but these three toes. I slam them into that step so hard, and oh my god, I saw stars. I definitely cursed. I said right then, I think I just broke my toe. But you know what? I iced it, took an Advil, went to bed. What am I going to do? And I was supposed to teach yesterday morning. I had 28 students lined up to teach at Isaac Meyer Homestead. Well, I woke up Friday morning. This is yesterday, and I was like, the throbbing woke me up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, no. Oh my God, I could not even put weight on it. Thank God I happened to have a pair of crutches in my closet. All right, I'm a little accident prone. Seriously. So I had crutches and a walking boot in my closet because a couple years ago I was multitasking walking down the steps and missed the last two steps and badly sprained my ankle. So I had the walking boot and the crutches. So I'm like, I cannot even put weight on my foot. It hurts so much. So I canceled the classes I was supposed to teach yesterday. I feel horrible about that. And I'm like, go to my husband. I said, it's definitely broken. I have to go to the doctor. So I went down to the urgent care as they open up at 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, great. And then it was a nurse practitioner. She was phenomenal. She took one look at my toe and was like, ooh, that's not good. I go, no. So, they did an x-ray. It is definitely broken, but it is broken diagonally. So I'm like really praying, and it's slightly displaced. I'm praying I don't have to get a pin. I see the specialist on Monday. So we'll find out what, hopefully they can just go boop and straighten it out, and that, either boot or cast or whatever. But I've been sitting too much, so I don't have the blood circulating. And I did sleep really good last night. I took like 2 Advil and I slept really, really good. So the pain was not as bad this morning, but then, I took a shower. I'm getting myself some water. And so after that, like the heartbeat came back, I'm like, all right. So I took an Advil. I'm hanging out downstairs. I got the boot on. I have my boot sock on, the first one that I finished, video number 1. So this is sock number 2. Hoorah! 60 rows. So again, you can make it as long as you want. I did 60 rows. So now when you go to do the heel, you're going to split your stitches in half. Now I cast on 50 stitches. So for me, that's going to be 25, but you want an even amount on the one that you are going to work. Okay, so I split them 24 and 26. Now I already did a couple rows. So here's the 26 I am not going to work. They are on a holder. These are the 26 that I'm going to keep working. So when you put your holder on, I just want to do these couple stitches real fast, and there's a reason why. So let me just purl over real fast. When you put your stitches on the holder, make sure that the yarn is at the end that you could start knitting your stitches. Let me just get to the end and I'll show you what I mean. Because I already started doing this, and then my husband came in from the grocery store and it was loud and it was obnoxious. And I didn't like I didn't like the first video very much, so I deleted it. So this is actually take number 3, because I don't edit, so I have to get it right. So sometimes I have to do it over. I probably should learn how to edit, but you know what? Nobody got time for that, Jones. All right, so here we go. So you did your 60 rows, and you put your stitches on a holder. You have to make sure that the yarn is right here so that you can knit. So the first time I did it, I put this side on the holder and I'm like, and my yarn was over here. I'm like, oh no. So put the stitches on the holder with the yarn at this end so that you can then work them immediately. So what you're going to do, now I'm doing a reinforced heel. You can see how it looks different. So here is a normal, and you can see the reinforcement. I like the reinforced heel. I don't know where it came about. My guess, so sometimes I like to think, well, how did this come about? And I don't know if there's anything written on this, but I think what happened was back in the day, shoes did not come in right and left. They were just straight. So you really, when they talk about breaking in a pair of shoes, you really had to break in a pair of shoes. And the heels always rubbed. And it was probably a spot that, wore out earlier than other parts of your sock. So they do this reinforced heel. So how does this work? Well, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to slip your first stitch. By slipping your first stitch, so you can see I already slipped a couple, you get these big stitches in the beginning. And this is great. So here, here, and here. So I have 3 slip stitches. Even though I did 6 rows, I have 3 slip stitches. So later on, when you're going to pick up stitches on the side, by slipping the first stitch, see how nice and big that stitch is? It makes it easier to see where you're going to pick up those stitches later on. So that's one of the reasons you slip that first stitch. So we're going to slip this first stitch as if to knit. Then we're going to knit the next one. Then we're going to slip, then knit, then slip, then knit, then slip, then knit. And so you're going to slip knit all the way across. Slip, again, you're slipping as if to knit. You hear some noise. That's my husband upstairs. And I'm sure Casey's being naughty. He's unloading groceries, and my one dog was starved before we got him. So he kind of has food anxiety. I'm telling my husband I'm filming right now. Shh. Here comes Casey down the steps, and the dogs are probably going to beg from him, so he'll try not to yell. All right, so you end on a knit. So I slip knit all the way across. So that's what you do on your knit side. You slip knit all the way across. And by doing that, you see it gives you these nice reinforced stitches. On the purl side, again, you're going to slip that first stitch as if to purl. And again, you can see all these nice big stitches that I already slipped. So we're going to slip as if to purl. And now you're going to purl across. However, when you purl across, you have to be careful. Because of the slip knitting, your stitches are going to face different directions. And you don't want to twist your stitches. So I'm going to go from back to front. This purl, if I go from back to front, it's going to twist the stitch. So I'm just going to go in the back of the stitch and purl. So you're purling differently because of the slip knit pattern you did before. So again, back to front on this one to keep that stitch nice and open. On this one, I'm actually purling just on the inside so that the stitch does not twist. So again, on your purl side, just be really careful not to twist those stitches. Okay, so you were going to do this for 24 rows. I I tend to do 2 rows and I just mark it down on a piece of paper. I do have a knitting counter, stitch counter, sorry, row counter, whatever. You know what I mean, a row counter. But I don't use it. So I already have 6 rows done. So that's when I mark it down. Every 2 rows. So I'm going to do this for 24 rows. And you're going to have on the side 12 of these big stitches. Let me get a little closer. See these big stitches right here, right here, right here. So however number of rows you do, you're going to have half that amount of the big stitches. So if I'm doing 24 rows, it's going to be 12. If I'm doing, when I use smaller sock yarn, I'll do 30 rows, but I'll have 15 of those big stitches on the side. And that's, again, that's going to be important later. So all this video is going to do today is you're going to do the heel, that reinforced heel. So see how nice I'm reinforced? It makes a nice squishy heel. It's very springy. It's nice and squishy and reinforced and strong. Okay, so that's all there is for today for this video. I hope you have a great day, and I'll be posting the next video in a couple days. Happy knitting.